Hello boys and girls, here I am again. This is Mr. Brisson and we're going to do another science lesson. I hope that you are ready with all your materials. I am ready and let's have some fun with science, right? Science is fun. Science is all around us. We see science in everything that we do. So all we have to do is just open our eyes and we are surrounded by science. So hello, welcome, and let's enjoy our science lesson. As always, let's start with our learning target. So I didn't want to have this already done because I wanted to enjoy my beach. I'm pretending that I'm at the beach, right? We are pretending that we're at the beach and I wanted to enjoy it a little bit longer, but let's see, where are the, right here. So let's go ahead and glue and tape it right here. And now let's write our learning target. Remember that our targets are the things that we want to have learned by the end of the lesson. So throughout the lesson, we're paying attention. We're doing all sorts of things to make sure that we understand completely what the lesson is about. And anybody will ask us and we'll be able to tell them, oh, this is what I learned. This was my target. I reached it. And let me explain it to you. Okay? So our clear learning target is, I can understand and demonstrate how different food chains interact to form a food web. Okay? So the important words there are food chain, which we already learned in the other lesson, and then interact, and then food web. It's a little bit different. A food web is a little bit different than a food chain, but very much related. So we're going to see how the food chains interact to create a food web. That is our learning target. So food web really is our new word or our new term for this lesson, because we already know food chain. Okay? So a food chain, we said that this is a chain, right? That is a chain. But if we put this together, this one together, and we put this one together, then we don't have a chain anymore. We have, you see, from close? So we don't have a chain anymore. We have a bunch of chains interacting with each other, and now they don't look like a chain. See? This is a straight chain. But now we have two together and then something else over here together. So it doesn't look like a chain. Now we're going to call this a web. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to take about 5 minutes and take out your notebooks or take out your binders or your Google Docs, and I want you to in your own words, describe the difference between a chain and a web. Okay? Describe the difference between a chain and a web. Okay? Or actually the differences and similarities. How are they the same? How are they different? Okay? Go ahead and take about 5 minutes to do that. Okay? You can put the video on pause and then describe the differences and similarities between a chain and a web. Okay? Yes? I think we have someone talking there on the second floor in my house, but hey, don't worry about it. I think they're discussing something about socks. Anyways, now that you have time to talk about the difference between a web and a chain, this is what we're going to do today, okay? We are going to visit my yard, and I would hope that you could do the same. So I'm going to grab the phone, and we are going to take a walk in my yard. But before we do that, I have to look for a hat. Okay, I'm gonna see. Ooh, I almost fell there. There's a big step there, so I'm gonna take my hat. Look at my hat. Yes, it's a big one. So I don't want to get a lot of sun. So I'm gonna take this hat, and we're gonna go in my yard, and we are gonna try to see how we have food chains or food webs, okay? Food webs. Let me see. I have to open the door over here. Open the door to go to the yard. And we are going to discover food webs, okay? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to, in your house, okay? Maybe if you have a little yard, I want you to grab, or a big yard, or a medium yard, or any place that is outside, I want you to grab your phone, or maybe your parents' phone. Ask permission, please, don't just grab it, okay? And I want you to go outside, and I want you to look at the different things that you see in your yard, okay? I want you to look at that because I want you to identify first if they are producers or consumers. And then I want us to talk about the difference between food webs and food chains. So for example, over here, you will see that we have in my yard, we have a big pecan tree, okay? A big pecan tree. So I would say, I would put, oh, this is a pecan tree, and this is a producer because they make their own food. Over here, I have a plant that has some little, I don't know, that has some little flowers over here, and this would be a producer because they make their own food. But if I see a little bird flying, let me see, I'm trying to find a bird, then that would not be a producer, that would be a consumer because the birds come here to eat some of the seeds. And so, oh, there is a little bird over there, but you cannot see it. Oh, I'm so sorry that you cannot see that bird. And then that bird, I would write bird. There is another one over here. And I would say that the bird is a consumer because they consume the things that plants produce, okay? So, I want you to do that with your phone or with your parents' phone. You make sure that you ask permission, okay? And you're gonna go to your yard and you're gonna do that. First, you're going to identify all the things that you see, okay? And then you're gonna try to put them into a food chain, okay? You're gonna try to put them into a food chain. So for example, I would say sun, okay? And then pecan tree, bird, and I know that I've seen a few snakes around my yard, so I would say snake, because the snake might eat some of the little birds that they have in their nest. So that's a food chain. But also, I might see another food chain in my yard. Like I might see grass, grasshopper, and a little frog, okay? And now I have another one, but I want to put the two together. I want to put my two food chains together and see how they interact with each other. So I'm thinking, who eats the grasshoppers? Oh, so the birds eat the grasshoppers and the frog eat the grasshoppers. Oh, wait a minute. So they're from two different food chains. And who eats the grass? Oh, so the grass maybe what it's eaten by the grasshopper, but also by the bunnies that come around. Oh, so they're from two different food chains. And you see how a web is being formed? You see how a web is being formed? So a web it's a bunch of food chains put together. A bunch of food chains put together. So you go to your yard, or you go to the park, or you go to a place that is close to your house, okay? And you're gonna start naming organisms that you see, okay? Tree, grass, grasshopper, bird, squirrel, okay? And then the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put them in food chains. food chains. And then you're going to try to see how one part of one food chain also can be part of another food chain. Okay? Because remember the learning target? The learning target was trying to figure out the relationship between the food chains and the food web. So when you put all of those food chains together and you start taking things from one food chain and then it goes to the other food chain and it goes to the other food chain, then it becomes a web, okay? So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna have to give you a long time for you to do that. You're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to pause this video, then go outside and do that for a long time and start identifying all the living things that you see outside. And then you're gonna have to organize them into food chains. And then you're gonna have to draw arrows to see how the food chains interact with each other, okay? So I want you to pause and then go do that, or maybe you can do it later on if you don't have time right now. And we will be able to understand a little bit better how food webs work, okay? But I'm gonna go back to my learning target here. So I can understand, remember? I can understand, I can take my hat off now because it's not hot anymore over here, I'm inside the house. So I can understand and demonstrate how different food chains interact to form a food web, okay? So to finish the lesson, I want to draw two food chains and see how they interact to check to see if what you did in your yard is similar to what I'm about to do. Okay, so over here I have sun, and then I have grasshopper, I have frog, I have snake, and I have hawk. And then I have a decomposer. I'm going to do a mushroom here, okay? And then I'm going to do another food chain over here that it comes from the sun. So I'm going to do grass. Oh, over here has to be grass. Because we cannot have the grasshopper making food, right? So the grass has to be here before the grasshopper. Then over here, I'm going to have grass again. And then another arrow. And I'm going to have a rabbit. And then I'm going to have a snake. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to have a mushroom. So, I have a snake that could eat the rabbit, but it can also eat the frog. And I have a hawk here that could also eat the rabbit. And I have a decomposer that could also decompose the grasshopper if the grasshopper dies. So you see how we don't have anything straight, how they start interacting with each other? This is called a food web. That is a food web. There are the different food chains interacting with each other. And that's our lesson for today. And I will see you next week, okay? Have a great day. And every time you go out, start identifying all the living things to see if they are producers or if they are consumers, and start putting food chains together and start putting food webs together, and we are all scientists. Bye-bye.